outside. You started recording yet? Hi, I'm Marcus Toole, and I'm continuing our video on making Huckleberry Jam, and we're at the kind of the final stages of boiling down the jam. It's in a roaring boil right now, and I'm just going to let it boil for maybe a half a minute more, and then we're going to turn the heat off and do a gel test, see if the jam has gelled, ready to be jarred. So I am going to turn the heat off now. I'm going to keep stirring just for a second or two to see if it gets to stop boiling. The reason I keep stirring while it's boiling is so that it doesn't scorch at the bottom of the pot. Also don't want it to overboil. I don't think it will. I'm using a bigger pot than I did last year, but last year that was always kind of a problem with the pot, with it overboiling. But I was using a much smaller pot last year. I'm going to take out the cold plate, and I'm going to take just a little bit and dribble on here, like so. And I'm going to count to 15 real slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now I want to take my finger and I'm going to rake it through it like this. You put the pot on its side, and if it stays at the two, we're not getting any running, so that means it's ready to go. It's ready to be ladled out into the jars. So I'm going to take out the jars. And jars have been heating at 250 degrees for at least 20 minutes. Actually been in the oven for longer than 20 minutes, and it doesn't really matter how long they're in there as long as it's 20 minutes or more. I have my handy dandy jam funnel. Before I start ladling out the jam though, I'm going to give it one last stir, and I'm going to see if there's any foam on here that needs to come out. Maybe a little bit, but it's not too bad. I don't mind the foam too much, but it does make for a bit prettier jam if you don't have it. And then you start ladling it into the jars. And you want to get it to about 1/4 inch to the top of the jar. That's about how far you want, 1/4 to 1/2 inch below the top of the jar. And that's just enough headspace so that you can get a good seal without there being too much air inside the jar. I use 2-pint jars, also call them 1/2-quart jars. That's kind of the perfect size for jam, but I always have a few smaller jars as well, the pint jars. Those are ones I usually give away to folks, and I always have a few of those because you always end up with just not quite enough jam at the end to fill a 2-pint jar. But usually it will fill a 1-pint jar. This jam recipe generally makes about fills about 8 jars. Usually this is a little bit more. I'm not super careful with my measuring. You don't really need to be with jam. And so often I get a little bit more, a little bit less. I'd rather have a little bit more than a little bit less. And now I have just enough, probably to fill about a half-pint jar. I doubt I can even fill it. I imagine this will be a partially filled jar that will go into the refrigerator. Yep, I was right about that. All right. Now I'm going to show you real quick how to begin the process. This is my boiler or my canner. So the water's boiling nice and hard in there. I've got my tongs, so I'm going to grab, I've had some the lid tops kind of in a pot, and that's been boiling. And I just put this on to where I get some resistance, and then I just tighten it up a little bit more to get finger tight. I don't want it so tight that, there, just finger tight, not too tight. But then I take the tongs and I stick it, this kind of tongs, and I stick it into the boiler like so. And then when all the jars are in there, they need to be under the water. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll end this recording at this stage for now. Thank you and God bless.